That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, let's get it going. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Friendly Fire Podcast, episode 7. We're bringing back competitive Battlefield, competitive esports. We're gonna try to go into some other ones, but Dogbert doesn't really want to talk about Dota. We are joined tonight. We tried to do a repeat cast from a couple weeks ago with BrettFX, who you're seeing here, as well as Chadman. Chad couldn't make it. He's under the weather. He's been for like a week or two. Just wasn't up to it. So we added a pinch hitter, if you will, Mr. Dogbert, DignitasDogbert, right? Is that's correct? I don't have it in front of me.
No, that's right.
We were going to go with a 5-man cast and just say YOLO and go for it, but we dropped down to the normal 4, which is probably a better, especially with a couple shoutcasters. 5 would be tough. I might as well just introduce it, me and Puppy go and play some games. But yeah, we're going to focus on the ESL One Tournament today. It's a big tournament. I didn't even know about this. I didn't know about it previously until a couple weeks ago. I was like, we got to talk about this. So I love the idea of a studio, LAN. I just think it's great. That's going to be our main topic. We're going to focus on that. Actually, before I get any more in depth to it, I'm going to just tell the chat as well what I was telling these guys. I've had some computer stability problems. I've been troubleshooting the hell out of this thing. It seems to be fairly stable the last couple of days. But if this stream just disappears, that's probably what it was. I'm going to hustle to get back up. I will be kind of in communication with these guys behind the scenes, so stick around. Well, at least try to redo it once. Hopefully we won't have an issue, but I just want to tell you ahead of time in case that happens. But otherwise, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go into Obliteration Small, competitive Obliteration, whatever the agreed upon, what we're calling it. Leagues and ladders on console, and then we're going to get into some various kind of competitive Battlefield topics based on some feedback I got from the previous episode. So first, we're going to go around and introduce everybody, talk about what you've been playing. It's not as, kind of topical with this kind of a cast, but we'll talk about it anyway. We will start off, I don't know how it is, we'll go on Dogbert. You're the newest addition to the cast. Introduce yourself a little bit. I know that's awkward. It's always my least favorite part of the whole thing. And then what kind of stuff you've been playing? Because I know one thing, but what else do you like to play in your time?
Well, I'm DignitasDogbert. I say DignitasDogbert. It's kind of inseparable at some points. I used to play BF2 back in 2005. That's how I got involved in the competitive scene, and that's how I joined Dignitas. And coming on 8 years later, I've become management now. And when BF4 came out, I decided because, well, I've been involved in loads of scenes since, but never had really kind of any history in any of them. So when BF4 came out, I didn't have time to play, but I had time to, sit and cast some games. So I wanted to do that, and I started doing it with Chadman at the start.
Yep. I've seen you guys work together a little bit, yep.
Yeah, and really from that, really just, found myself back into the Battlefield fold, and, it's been really good fun because, we've got so much history here. So yeah, and what I've been playing lately, Dota 2.
Oh, yeah, I said that you were hating on it. Okay.
I don't hate it. CSGO, obviously. Civilization 5 takes up a huge chunk of my time.
That's making a resurgence, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of people are playing that, it seems like, yeah.
You know, Civ comes and goes, kind of like the seasons. Every so often you'll have a moment where you just play it non-stop, and then you'll be like, right, done. And then you'll come back. And that's it. BF4 every so often, But I've watched more games than I've played recently.
Yeah,
you're a smart player.
But yeah, that's pretty much me. So, and
then I'll chime in here. You are going to be actually casting the ESL One. Is that how I meant to mention this to you? But that's what Brett told me. You're going to Germany. You're going to actually be there casting it. I
did the last one, which was the EMS one before they rebranded everything under the ESL One. Oh, I know, it's confusing as hell. But yeah, I'll be flying out there on
very cool
Thursday. So yeah, I get to cast with Jason and Pansy.
And that's going to be on the ESL channel, or is that going to be on a personal channel? Okay, so
no, it'll be ESL.
It should be on the overlay if you guys are interested. I will, for the YouTube guys, I'll have that all in the description when this does go to YouTube. Right down below will be all the official channels, but the website will lead you to all that too, as well as these guys' personal information if you're so interested. All right, Brett, what have you been up to? What are you up, aside from casting every match they'll let you?
Yeah.
Anything else? Probably not, right?
Yeah, so I am BrettFX. I was on the last podcast, but for you guys that may be tuning in now, I am a competitive Battlefield caster. Yes, there is competitive Battlefield. I know. Crazy. But I'm trying to break into other games as well. Like, I'm going to be getting into Titanfall here as soon as the spectator mod's released for that. Insurgency as well. We've got a match actually coming up on Monday, potentially, that I'm going to be casting for that. And then But yeah, that's about it. I've been casting multiple leagues. I mean, I've been doing a lot of ESL. I do the Go Force every Sunday. With Dogbert, I've been doing the group stages. We did actually the last group stage was really good. The Go For groups, and I've also cast for WEL War XS. I'm casting X Game Pro. Those are both South American leagues, as well as LBB, and then of course the only North American league, which is CEVO. And currently it only has, I think, very few North American teams actually in it. But that's also going on. I'm casting that as well. And then, yeah, that's about it as far as what I've been up to. And just been casting. Kind of like what Dog was saying. I don't really play a whole lot anymore. I mostly just cast up in spectator mode. And if you guys want to check any of those videos out, you can on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/AaronTVH1. Or you can just go to YouTube and type in BrettFX. It'll pop up, I think, as one of the top channels. So yeah, that's about it so far.
That's when everybody asks me, like, what do I play the most? I'm like, the YouTube game. Like, that's the game to me. So it sounds like you guys are the same way, casting and spectating and stuff. So Puppy, what have you been up to?
Oh man, okay, so I finally got my PVR in, and yeah, I finally got that in. I haven't uploaded any gameplay yet because I have just been playing Battlefield 4, just trying to get some decent footage. Honestly, that is all I've been playing. Any free moment I have, it's either playing Battlefield 4 or watching either Brett's stream or Wally's stream or any stream I can catch of competitive play. But that's basically been all that I've been doing. Not a whole lot else besides that this time.
Raging? Feeling good? You just console, I'm assuming, right?
I've been doing good. Yeah, of course it's on console because I never see you on and you don't send me an invite to play with you. So.
I played it a lot in the beginning of the week, and that's when I started having problems. So the rest of my week, I'll segue into that in a minute. But yeah.
Well, next time you're on, just hit me up because like I'm not gonna go out of my way to get on the PC. I don't know any of those guys, and I'm not in any hurry to get my shit pushed in either, to be quite honest, which I know is exactly what's going to happen when I do get on PC.
Well, going to CTE, it's all tryhards all day. It's crazy. People are like, oh, I'm like, guys, it's a test environment. Relax a little bit. But it's actually fun, too. I enjoy it. Because people are, for some reason, going crazy. I don't know why. But, yeah, so I really haven't played much. I played BF4 at the beginning of the week. I was actually doing awesome. Why is it? You guys find, like, when I take a big break away from Battlefield 4 specifically, Battlefield 3 is the same way. I come back, I seem to play better. Like, I'm rusty as shit. Like, I have no aim, but, like, I feel like I know I don't have aim, so I play smarter. And I was just destroying people. I'm like, this is really bizarre. But I was loving the game suddenly. Placebo effect, too. Probably like, oh, it's fixed. Yeah. But then I started having PC problems, so I've been playing that whole PC troubleshoot game. It's so annoying. But
I love it.
Yeah, but like I also have a pile of components right here of my new PC, and I just haven't had time to put it together. So I'm like, just live for like 3 more days. Just make it. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping to put that together this weekend and then just be done with it, and I can troubleshoot this at my leisure. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't played. I'm trying to think if I played anything. Not even. I was playing League a little bit but not even in the last week or two. Probably just been too busy moving into this room and stuff. So. No fun. I haven't even really watched... God, I don't even think I've watched Twitch or YouTube in like at least a week, which is crazy for me, which I usually watch a couple hours that a night. So not too much going on, but I'm looking forward to watching, obviously this tournament. I want to make some time to actually check that out. So we are going to move right into that, which is ESL One. I was afraid I had it wrong this whole time. Where is it? It's in Cologne, Germany? Is that where it's at?
Yeah, it'll be in Cologne, Germany.
Yeah.
And it'll be this Saturday and Sunday.
I think it's Friday and Saturday. This is where I'm confused.
No, it's Saturday and Sunday. Don't worry.
All right, well, my overlay's wrong. Aware. But
no, don't worry.
Yeah. Well,
24th, 25th.
Yeah, well, the website said both, literally. So that's why I was like, what's going on? So they need to get their act together.
Their website lies a lot.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if maybe it wasn't live and they were delaying the stream or something. I don't know, but...
You should have been around back when we were trying to figure out how the last group was going to be decided.
We just gave up. We just like, we don't know.
Screw it!
We're just going to pretend that it doesn't exist until someone else goes on a stream and tells us how it works. That's what we did.
And this is basically the biggest budget tournament we kind of have in Battlefield 4 right now. I would wager.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
so far.
even though we were taking a pot shot at that bit there, this is still easily the best run tournament. It's
I'm
probably
not even talking prize pool. I'm just saying. I mean, just the production qualities and everything. Or
yeah. I mean, when we first got to the studio the first time, they booked us into a hotel. They picked up all the teams and players from the airport, drove them to the hotel, put them up there for the night, and then in the morning picked us all up, drove us to the venue. We all got there, and everyone's walking in, and we're just like, "Oh my god, is this all just for us?"
Yeah,
like everyone's
cool.
just looking around, and yeah, it was insane. They had loads of cameras and makeup
it reminds
crew
me
and
like
everything.
a twist between LCS. I don't know if you guys. I mean, I watch League of Legends, the LCS a lot, and it reminds me of kind of the Battlefield Showdown. You know, like that has the same flavor. Which I was like, where has this been? This is what we need. You know. Now
we don't need to be a showdown ever again.
No, I meant like a studio LAN. Like that to me, that's the best. That's the best of both worlds because you know, I don't know. I love the live element of it, and I think it adds a layer of strategy. You know, the live environment. You know, you have to. It's different. You know, some people are so used to just sitting in their room playing. I just think it adds another layer. Now, to clarify, is this affiliated in any way with DICE or EA? Do they have any piece of this, or is this totally independent? I know you said they're going to send somebody as kind of an ambassador, I guess. They
had a. Well, I can only call for what happened last time, and obviously they had Zinta there and French guy. I can't remember his name now. Big hair. That's as far as I can remember his name. I've got him on Twitch and on Twitter, but yeah, you know, there we go.
But I mean, they're not running it, they're not funding it. It's
well, I don't know who's funding it, but I'm sure it's probably EA or DICE. But I haven't got a clue really.
Well,
no one's going to tell me either. So, yeah. But yeah, it's probably EA. It's marketing budget money. I mean, that's what you do.
What do you think they want? They would want that known. I would, if you know, that would change my opinions a little bit. Good
yeah.
PR.
I mean, ESL put on tournaments. You want your game done here? These guys will go through and do it for you, and they'll put it on to the best of their ability.
Right.
And what they've done with BF is pretty much as best as you're going to get. You get regular tournaments. You have a monthly Go For final. You have every Sunday there's a cup, and then you've got the 4 regular seasons of the ESL One, or previously EMS. You know, running the tournament's fine. There's nothing wrong there. It's more of the game's issues from launch that have been
absolutely
everything. So
yeah, we're kind of focusing outside of the game on this.
Yeah, it's not easy though. I know. It's one and the same.
Yeah,
but that's always been an issue with Battlefield. It's never been an
issue.
It's forever an issue from 42 to BF4. The game's never been particularly perfect, and there's always been a competitive scene. Every Battlefield's had them, and it's not something it's always had money in it. It's just developed, and not always in game modes.
Hold on a sec, Dogbert. I'm getting a notice about a call issue.
Yes, you're talking too much.
You guys see it too, or just me?
Yeah, Puppy's...
Oh, Puppy dropped. Okay.
Yeah, Puppy gone.
First time Skype's giving us an issue. Usually it's Twitch itself.
Oh, Puppy doesn't talk much anyways.
Well, if it is just one of us dropping, I mean, you know, we'll move on with just one of us. I didn't know if the whole call just kind of was about to crap out.
No, I think it's just him.
Yep. And as long as my window... All right, so go ahead. I mean, the windows are a little jarred, but if he doesn't get back, I'll move stuff around.
I do these all the time. It's hilarious when people start messing up my overlays.
Well, that's why for a little while I just did the big box. You know what I mean? I was just like, what happens, happens. You know, but then it's like you kind of always want to improve a little bit. And it looks better when you do overlays. But so let's just run down quick while Puppy's getting reestablished here. So basically, what you said, it's a weekly tournament, and it's like what some kind of a point system that kind of ranks up into this big championship, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you have a qualifier. So when the regular season starts, you've got you have a tournament style, and you have qualifiers from each region and so on. And you know, it's all on the website, but it takes a while to get set up, and the same kind of teams always keep coming through. But
right,
you know, there's lots of chances for up and coming teams. It's just having the will to stick it in really and stay there long enough.
Yeah, against the competition and against the game, like we said. So, you know, I don't know which one's harder, honestly. So yeah, I mean, basically where I'm going with this is these teams have been, you know, squaring off like you said, usually against each other for many weeks now to get to this point, to get seeded to 8 teams, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then it's going to be whittled down to 4. They're going to round robin or something like that. How does this one work?
Well, I will knock it here in Skype and on chat here. So you've got 2 groups now. Group A, Fnatic, Epsilon, Planet Key Dynamics, and Infamous. And Group B, Pyrogen, Dignitas, Meteor Makers, and ESC. And if you win 2 games, you'll go straight through. If you lose, you'll go down, play whoever is left till someone else goes to that group, and then same again when it gets to the semis and finals. So pretty standard stuff. Yeah, so that's how it'll be at the final. But the thing that's the best about the final is none of the teams moan about the game at all when they play at LAN, because the hit rate is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that is good. Now,
playing on the same.
Yeah, let me just for me, purely for me. Brett knows I have my issues with the spectator client. How are they broadcasting this? Is it through the spectator, or are they going to have, be able to cap actually the individual's point of view?
It's completely using the in-game spec mode.
Spectator, okay.
Yeah, which is fine.
I would just like to see the single. Well, I guess that should perform better on LAN too, shouldn't it?
Yes.
I don't even think
the spectator right now.
Really.
What's that?
It's determined by the ping, so it'll be a lot better on LAN.
All right, cool. Because I would love to watch some of the best players play on a LAN environment with just no latency. I like the best of the best in the best environment. That's what I want. But I understand there's just hurdles to that. I'm not blaming anybody, but so let's get into the money. That's what everybody wants to lead off with. We'll just get that out of the way now. The truth is, it's really probably not what a lot of these guys are doing, playing for. Prize pool 30k euros, right? About 41k USD. 10k. We said 10k euros to the winner, right? And I think it was 5k to second, and then there's a tailing off there. Yeah. And there's 4 of these, right? Is that what it is? They got funding. They're putting on 4. Is that? That was the plan. We'll see.
It is 4 of these seasons. There will be 4 of these seasons.
Cool. And this is number 2, right?
This is the second one, yeah. So there'll be 2 more after this. So probably last one will probably be around September-ish.
Probably fall. Yeah. Okay.
So it'll be 4 finals. We're into the second one next week, and this is going to be around for a bit. I don't know where all the finals are going to be, but so far
it's not the same place every time.
The last one was at the studios, and this one will be at the studios.
Okay.
Maybe the next 2 will be. I don't know, but I'm sure if ESL want or if EA wanted, they could move it around if they wanted.
Yeah, I think from a production side, it probably just makes more sense to keep it in a permanent spot, or at least semi-permanent.
Well, if you want fun coincidence, around about the season 3 finals is also the same week as Gamescom, but that's just a coincidence. I don't know if anything's happening. But yeah, and ESL Studios is basically in Cologne anyway, so I would be particularly surprised.
Jesus Christ, Chad, what are you drinking? What is that?
It's
I know you don't
cran
drink,
cherry.
Good Lord, man.
I don't have any clean glasses.
Put it across your forearm with your pinky. And... All right. So yeah, obviously, I'm going to make the assumption that this is the highest purse that we've seen in Battlefield 4. It's a prize pool, 30k or 40k for US.
I think so. I can't remember how much DreamHack had. But most of us try not to even mention.
I agree. I know this is a little. Yeah.
Just because it was an all-round embarrassment, really. But yeah, what else can you say? Nothing worked.
You crashed least one, right?
Everyone crashed.
That's what I mean.
it was every team crashed. Teams that should have probably won their games crashed. It was just an absolute chaotic mess.
I remember it actually. I didn't watch it much, but I remember seeing it on Twitter and just being like, oh.
I was trying to watch it. It was interesting.
Yeah, I was in Skype chat with Baz back when he was with ESL, and he counted. I think it was 103 crashes within one of the days. I think it was like the second day. There was like 103 crashes.
No. I bet he was like exaggerating, like how many, but it's probably not actually that far from the truth.
No, he was watching all the servers that the players were playing in, the live scoreboards, and he was counting them. He'd go into chat. All right, 2 more just crashed out of this one. A couple more just crashed out of this one. It's like, holy crap.
It's just that's the worst, and that's the least. If you can't even have a state, we know how it was. So let's just not even get derailed on that. All right, so the previous champions, Meet Your Makers, correct?
Yep.
Website was Cryptic. I'm doing that from memory. Pyrogen was who they faced off, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
Actually, I wrote it down. Good me. Anything else notable in the previous tournament that maybe we want to know of heading into next? I'm trying to do this from the perspective of a guy like me. Just walking in, we're trying to get that guy to watch this one, so... Any storylines that might carry over or kind of big upsets that we want to see the rematch of? I know these guys kind of square off a lot, but in a LAN, in a studio environment, it's a little different, you know?
Oh, I'll jump to the intro. Well, actually, I'll let Brett go because I've talked too much already, I think.
Well, the pirate. If you want a story, the Pyrogen story is the story.
Okay. Yeah.
And we talked about that in the last.
I think we did. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have the number 16 seed, last place team basically to qualify.
Wow.
And they ended up taking out the number 1 seed team, Fnatic, and moving on into the finals and taking it to a Game 5 within the finals, which was a very good series, one of the best series that I've seen, versus MYM, and it was a very, very good game. I mean, if you want a story, that's a story for you right there. Both the number 1 and the number 2 seeds both were kicked out. The number 2 seed, actually, Epsilon was kicked out within group stages. They didn't even make it up into the final brackets. Yeah, there was a lot of upsets for the last event, and it's going to be interesting seeing what comes out of this one because Pyrogen kind of tailed off at the end of season 1, coming into season 2. They were kind of very back and forth. They weren't the strong team that we saw at LAN leading up to LAN within groups because they also took out AAA within groups as well. Before then, which that was a little bit of an upset. Dog will say it's not, but it was. And then, coming out of it, they were a little bit shaky. But now, going right back into Season 2 offline finals and in groups, they just destroyed. They went 2-0. They beat Epsilon like it was nothing. I mean, it was just ridiculous, and they ended up securing their spot within the offline finals. So they're going to be a team to watch out for coming up into Season number 2. Within the groups... Especially, like, I don't know if Dog will agree with me here, but the Fnatic, Epsilon, Group A, basically. We have Fnatic, Epsilon, PKD, and Infamous. A lot of people are going to be assuming just Fnatic, Epsilon going straight away. But, and I don't know, like I said, Dog will agree with me here, but Epsilon is not the best at LAN. Mainly because they have 1 or 2 fraggers, and their team is built around those fraggers. Obviously, Mayak is not going to be playing. He's not old enough. So Duke PT is really the only guy that they have that can just put up massive numbers. And I'm not talking about like doubling scores.
What is their age? I'm just curious. 17? Is that what, I mean, I know that's what it is for some other games.
I think it's just 18.
18. All right. I'm just curious.
Yeah, to go to an offline finals.
Mm-hmm.
But
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but Duke PT. I'm not just talking about like he maybe double some of the scores. I mean, we're talking about dropping 30, 40 kills in a round, not a match, a round. I mean, just ridiculous numbers. And he hasn't shown up at LAN. I mean, he does well, but he doesn't put those kinds of numbers on the board. So I think in Group A, that group, we should be watching out for Infamous. They are really, really starting to heat up. They were looking really good in group stages. And honestly, they are a team that could come out of nowhere and have an upset, especially with, like I said before, Epsilon being a little bit weak at LAN. What do you think, Doc?
For Group A, yeah, totally. I mean, I wanted to go back to Season 1 because talking about like storylines. One of the interesting one I always thought was actually the team that went on to win, the 2 teams that made it to the final, Pyrogen and MYM. Now, everyone coming at this tournament was assuming, like, majority of people was UMAV, Fnatic, and Epsilon, obviously, because all these teams have done really, really well online. Pyrogen had not been doing great until like the last few weeks, last few months. They'd always done good, but not great, and then they just steadily got better and better. And they had like 3 weeks of winning the Go4s like in a row, no problem. So that was a surprise. But they boot camped before going to the final, and it really showed up. But the reason why Pyrogen did so well at LAN had nothing to do with the fact that they'd been boot camping. I think it helped a lot. But they had a spirit which the other teams didn't have. Epsilon, for example, absolutely broke apart at LAN. They were not good at LAN. They didn't have that backbone, really. And as soon as the game went against them, they fell apart. Pyrogen, on the other hand, when their games were against them, and they were against them a few times, they rose up and did really, really well. They had that momentum that could come back in. Same with NYM. And the two teams that made it to the final were the two teams that would stick in there even through really dodgy and sticky situations and win. When it got to the final, Meet Your Makers had loads and loads of close games online against UMav, losing each time by like 2 or 3 tickets. And they were almost winning, and they should have won loads of those games, but they didn't, and that denied them finals in the groups leading up to it. But when they got there, they didn't just outperform in a lot of cases. They just had bigger heart, and they just kept playing. Fnatic got dusted by pyrogen, and pyrogen had 2 dodgy games against Dignitas, which they almost lost both of them, but they stuck through it. And basically, it got down to pyrogen versus Meet Your Makers. And there was a moment in that game, pyrogen doing so well in all of them, and winning by massive tickets or losing by only a handful, where one of the Meet Your Maker players put down his headset and said GG.
Oh, yeah,
and then his teammate turned around and shouted at him, "Put your headset back on, keep playing." And if he hadn't done that, if Safe hadn't done that, they would have lost. So I think that was and obviously AAA getting smashed was quite fun as well. A team that everyone expected to get to the final, they got absolutely annihilated. I loved that.
I just love what you're talking about. The heart, the boot camping, like the whole LAN environment makes it just it's a wild card. You never know. Like Brett's talking about some guy that just dominates normally. Maybe nerves get there, and it's bright lights. It's a lot more people watch. I love that, and I'd love to see more of that. Obviously, I think everybody would, as far as bright lights and more viewers, right? But
oh yeah, for sure.
I think it'd be cool. And the spotlight, but
yeah, it makes it exciting in my opinion.
Puppy, what do you got? You got anything to add? You want to mention before we move on?
Not at the moment. No.
All right. Well, I mean, you guys have kind of touched on it. We know who won the previous one. Heading in now next week, who would you say are the favorites going in? And who are kind of the heavyweights? You've just said we can't really put too much weight into it because the 16th seed went to the finals, but half of the fun of these things is trying to predict and kind of figure these brackets out. So
who you're rooting for?
Yeah, well, that's different. That we'll get to that too. So I kind of know where Dogbert's going, I think. and
I'd
Brett
like
too,
you
I could
to
probably
say
guess.
what you think I think, because I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
No, my predictions are actually quite weird ones. And I'm looking at the groups already, and I'm just like a bit nervous. That Group B is really stacked. Meet Your Makers, Dignitas, and Pyrogen. All 3 of those teams could progress. Meet Your Makers have started to pick it up again, but they've got a love-hate relationship with the game. They've already won one already.
So
it's very difficult. Yeah, but
right,
also
motivation.
you've already won once.
Yep. They're not hungry so much. Yeah.
Maybe not, but either way, they've done quite well recently, and I know they can do it at LAN, and they're proven on LAN. And the Dignitas lineup they have now is probably a bit better at LAN than say their previous one, but they came very close to taking out Pyrogen twice, and I'm quite confident in a few of the pickups. They've got Frantic, who used to play Unreal Tournament and Painkiller, and he's a really solid player. Jerk, who plays Dignitas, he's played for Six Fins. That guy is a solid player and did so well at LAN last time, and I think he got really overlooked. But then you've got Pyrogen in that group, who I know will do well at this event. And if I had to pick the 2 teams I expect to see in the final right now, unless they meet each other before that, Pyrogen and Fnatic. Yeah. And I think that's the team you're going to see in the final. And Epsilon, could make it through that group, and if they do make it through that group, it's only because they got lucky. But they're not in a group against either Pyrogen, Dignitas, or Meet Your Makers. If any of those 3 teams were in Group A, I think they'd be in serious trouble. And they're going to hate me for this. And I get on really well with the Epsilon guys.
That's what's fun about it. I mean, I guess you're casting it, so you got to be a little bit different. But
well, I am incredible. People are going to call me biased because obviously I've got a relationship with the Dignitas guys, and that is true.
But
the fact is, I watched these guys collapse at LAN and do things that no one who wants to win will ever do. And that puts so much doubt in my head about picking and feeling confident about choosing them to win.
So are we in agreement that Group B is the group of death, if you steal a term from the World Cup and soccer? Or is it fairly balanced? I don't have it in front of me because I have 18,000 screens in front of me. So
I mean, if Dignitas decides to show up that day, then yeah, it'll be a very good group to watch.
Shots fired.
But then again, Dignitas has this. I mean, they're getting better, but they've had this really bad habit in the past where they just don't show up on the day that they need to show up on. So if they play like they did in their group, they'll definitely be a team to watch out for. And I think it could come down to them, fighting out Pyrogen within the winners brackets there, sitting MYM down to losers right off the break. But they have to show up that day. MYM, they might have been a little bit out of it back in their groups, not really sure if they wanted to play or not. But, hey, if they start heating it up, then that's going to be a really good fight going back and forth. But I think Pyrogen is definitely going to make it up into the finals. Fnatic should definitely make it up into the finals as well. But over there in that Group A, man, I don't know. Infamous. I've seen so many of their games so far, and they're just so they're unpredictable, but they're good. I don't know how to explain it. They have the chance.
If you want. It's called the FAMAS. No, it's called the FAMAS.
Oh my God!
Like if Infamous don't use the FAMAS, then they're not going to win. Simple as. They're good, but they're not good without the FAMAS.
Well, a lot of teams use the FAMAS now. I don't think that's a good argument. I really
think
don't.
It's no. I think it's being a bit unfair, but I don't. They're good, but they're not as good as. No, I really no. I'm going to go and say I think take the FAMAS out and they wouldn't win a lot of their games online.
We'll see. But I think they have a chance to have an upset. I think they have a chance to have an upset. And, hey, you know what? What would have really been interesting, this is completely off topic, but something that kind of been eating at the back of my head for a while. What if GC had made it up into the groups? Man, wouldn't that have been awesome? I would have loved
it would have been annoying.
Annoying? No, it would have been awesome to see GC because they have been hot here lately. But anyways, that is completely off topic.
So basically what we're saying, everybody's got a puncher's chance. Like, there's no team in here that you're just writing off. I mean, it sounds like the weaker teams are the ones that you expect to perform better on LAN, whereas some of the better-known teams have some faults and cracks. So
there is one team that I am going to completely write off, and
go for it.
I apologize for any of them who may see this. ESC. I don't think ESC Icybox is going to do anything. They barely made it throughout their group stages. They had a lot of trouble with Infused. They had trouble with Team Unitas. So I mean, I don't think that they're going to be making it very far. And like Dogbert said, they have to go against Pyrogen, MYM, or Dignitas. Like that's no.
They're in the playoffs from their first match, basically. You know what I mean? Like they're fighting for their survival from the start.
They're fighting for their life from the word go.
Planet Key could cause an upset against Ep7. And I would call that as the upset in Group A. Planet Key to possibly beat Ep7 in the first match. Fnatic should beat Infamous, but apparently they struggle against French teams. I don't know why. But they do have a French player now, so,
can't beat them, Jordan.
Yeah, equalizing that out.
They should be okay. Like, Fnatic come in once again with the most experience of any of the teams, with probably a solid lineup that consistently play.
And they're probably hungry now because they got eliminated last time. You would figure.
I don't think Fnatic management was particularly happy when they ended up picking up this team and probably paying more than any other organization in the entire of the scene or ever in BF history to get a team that can't even get into the final at the prestigious event.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But we'll wait and see.
Sports, man.
Dog is eating that up, man.
Yeah,
I'm loving that.
Those are the storylines that make it intriguing. That's if it's super predictable, it's not fun.
Well, the problem was Too Easy, who is one of the more talkative members
Follow him on
of
Twitter.
Fnatic, talk so much smack, and you can do that, but if you lose, it's going to get thrown back at you.
Multiplied. Yeah.
And when they were losing to Pyrogen, everyone was cheering for Pyrogen because because they've got such a bad reputation because they just smack talk every.
Well, they're like the WWE. You know, like they're like that guy. And I think it's good for viewership. You need that villain almost.
Having cry on stream was definitely a highlight moment on that stream. And, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely
Something
the favorite
constantly
picture.
brought up now. Whenever the guy talks smack, it's just like, oh, stop crying about it.
Yeah, I had that in the background of my my Go4 splash page.
That's
And every now and then it'd pop up, and man, chat would just be like, "No, bring that back! Bring that back! I want to see that picture again."
The Germans could do it, but you know, I just don't see. As long as the teams play the way they should, ESC could maybe give Dig an issue, but I doubt it. Really,
no.
The German team should go out early, and then it's just who's going to join them.
All right, so since we're looking at matchups here, is there? And my other topic here is any big matchups, rivalries that we're looking for as you're kind of looking through the ladder there. That, like, you know, if you're going to tell somebody, hey, you want to check this out, don't miss this if it happens. That kind of thing.
Planet Key versus Epsilon will probably be the most interesting match on the first day. Jarrett plays for Planet Key Dynamics now. He left Epsilon. He talks so much smack as well. Says some absolutely ridiculous things. Just really shut his mouth, but some people just don't know when to shut the fuck up, and he's one of those people. So he'll be playing against Epsilon, and you know, Epsilon, they're shaky at land, so you know, if they cause an upset, he'll just start giving it all that. So that'll be good fun.
Right.
But the only other game on that day, maybe MYM versus Dignitas, isn't even a rivalry. This is worse. It's two teams that are friends of each other that are going to go up against each other. So that's worse in a way. The rest of them, you know, they just play. Maybe Fnatic will hate Infamous because they use for masses, but I think that'll be about it.
All right, so this, we said, it's Saturday and Sunday now. We can confirm that. Obviously, my overlay is wrong. I have it Friday, Saturday, but it's over the weekend, next weekend. It's going to be streamed all over the place. Like I said, it's a studio setting, which I think is, I don't know, like, I'm almost as I wish they would do like a documentary of this more like after the fact, you know, a couple weeks down the road and show it behind the scenes and that, like, that's the stuff I'm intrigued in.
I could do that for you. I could film a load of stuff while I'm there.
I just think it's cool, like, you know, the whole studio setting and interaction. They should do it, you know, like, if to promote it and things, because like the stuff we're talking about, the talking trash and the friends playing friends and the 16 seed upset, these are the classic sports storylines that need to be highlighted a little more. I mean, because you gotta look at the storylines, because you gotta draw attention sometimes away from the game. Unfortunately, you know, like you gotta build the hype on some of the rivalries. Unfortunately, hopefully we're getting away from that. And I'm going to kind of transition away from the tournament itself and talk about a little bit more on Battlefield 4. But if there's anything you guys wanted to add, now is your time. So go for it.
I want to grab Brett about this, but let's say, as a fun wager, who do you think will win this ESL One final? Who do you think will win, Brett?
Who do I think will win?
Yeah. I dare you to say Epsilon. I dare you. Double dare you, motherfucker.
No, if you say who I'm rooting for and who I think will win, that's two different things.
Yeah, it should be two different things, apparently.
I just want to see who you think.
That's two different things. I think that most likely it'll be Fnatic, just because Fnatic got kind of kicked in the nuts that last one, and it was kind of a wake-up call.
No BSing anymore, yeah.
And I think that they're going to bring their A game, and especially with the addition of having Drunks on their team, I think that it's going to make it they're going to have a very, very well-rounded and a very good team. They've been playing consistently. They've probably been the most consistent BF4 team that's played in just about every cup, every event that's popped up for fives. They've been playing in it, and they're just that team that I think will be able to take it all. Now, it's going to be hard. I think that it's going to be a very long, drawn-out finals, but I think they will be able to win it. And unfortunately, Dogbert, to be completely honest with you, I think that Epsilon is going to have a lot of issues. If they make it up into brackets, it's going to be by the skin of their teeth. I mean, it's going to be going to game fives. I think just about every match that they have, just because of the fact, and I hate to say this, you know, but I mean, we saw when Duke PT didn't do well back in the It was the group stages. It was the group stages. He was not getting these amazing frags up in the high 20s, 30s. He was getting just like you would see anybody else getting. And they were getting just crushed in situations where they shouldn't have. And it was definitely showing through. Their team is built around one person being able to collect those kills. And he just wasn't. And at LAN, I don't think he's going to be able to do that quite the same way as he does normally. So I think that they're going to have a very, very hard time in order to make it up through the brackets. But I'm going to be rooting for him. I mean, Dogbert knows this, but I'm an Epsilon fan. I don't know why. I just am. I'm an Epsilon fan. But yeah, Fnatic probably is going to be my team to take it all.
My pick will be to face them in the final and possibly win. It'll be Pyrogen. And I'll give you a second team, because why not? Who would be your second team to get to
my second team?
Win?
It'd be Pyrogen.
All right, okay, I'll pick someone else.
Just because I saw the way they played in their groups, they looked very, very good. They looked solid and they looked confident. And looking over at the way MYM played Dignitas in that last match, not to take anything away from Dignitas, but you're talking about MYM here, and they got crushed. Not just beaten, they were 2-0'd. And it was brutal to see them getting beat like that. So, I mean, yeah, Dignitas stepped up, but at the same time, MYM's not the same team that they were. Now, again, we stated this before. They may show up. They may be that completely different team. But I'm definitely sticking with the top two teams, Fnatic and Pyrogen.
I'm going to throw a random one out there. And I'm not going to say Dignitas, because obviously they're my homies anyway. No, I'm going to go Meet Your Makers. I think they could make it 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Now, if they make it 2 in a row, that would be like the best story ever. They can do it if they want to.
See, I want to see Meet Your Makers in Planetary Key. Planet Key.
Planet Key.
You know what? Honestly, it's nothing. Like, I haven't honestly ever seen them pull off anything super special. But like some of the very first streams I started watching, in fact, the very first stream I started watching of BF4 comp was Planet Key, and something about it, I don't know. It was like I just kind of fell in love with like their play style, and that was it. You know, just the way that they went about things was it felt different. You know, like. When you, I'm just saying, like, when you go and you watch Epsilon or Fnatic or whatever, you see a lot of the teams, you know, they post up in the same spots and on given game modes. And when I was watching at least that one particular match of PKD, they weren't going there. They were doing the off-the-wall stuff that you're just like, what? What are you doing? And I don't know, like, I like teams that try and go a little...
Break the meta
out there.
Yeah, I haven't been watching them recently. They're very straight up these days.
Well, yeah,
like,
I watched them, dude. I watched them the past few tournaments, and I was very the past few cups, and I was really sad. Not only because they were just following the this is where you go and this is where you sit and this is what you do, but also just because they haven't been doing so good.
It's not easy in a world dominated by online heroes. But yeah, okay, I'll go with that. Pyrogen and Meet Your Makers, and you're going Fnatic, Pyrogen. Obviously, I think you have a much stronger hand there, Brett, but yeah.
He's not bagging down.
I'm going to win. I'm winning. That's all there is to it.
What is the wager then, gentlemen?
Oh, that's a good point. I've already gave my hoodie. I don't know what else I could put on.
Yeah, you're not going to take it back, by the way. I'm not saying
I'll get you something dig related if I lose, okay?
If you lose? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I guess I'll have legitimate tears for the last time we cast together or something.
I just do it for the sake of a wager. I know. I enjoy it.
The trash talk is almost. I'd say
I'd buy you a beer.
For me. If I lose, I will bring it up on stream. How about that?
Hey,
there you go.
Oh, that would be. Yeah, he would love that.
There you go.
Chat's asking. They're touching on the rules a little bit, and we can't get into all of them. But what are some of the standout differences between, say, this tournament and just your standard pubber? I know there's a myriad of things, but what are some of the things that might strike someone watching?
Okay, well,
certain guns outlawed on this one, certain, that kind of stuff.
You want to take this one, dog, or do you want me?
Well, I've been on this long, but the top couple.
Let's split it. So, weapons that are banned: Ace 52, Scar H, banned because they're broken.
One hit kills.
Yeah. Any other weapons? There's loads of little things broken. It's pretty much infantry only. Can't use.
That's just a rundown of basics is fine. That's fine.
Oh, by the way, real quick before you get into it, dog. Okay, I had confirmation in my stream from an actual developer saying, okay, that the Scar H has way too much damage on it, and it is too OP. A developer that has said that. Okay, so any of you guys who say no, it's not, it is. It is. Go ahead, Doc.
Other than that, it's best of 3. Each round starts with 150 tickets.
Domination, right?
Yeah, domination game mode. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so mostly it's the weapons. Are they still banning the explosives?
Well, see, basically what's banned out in gadgets, so there's no claymores.
Right.
There are no tugs, there are no motion balls, there are no spawn beacons. You're not going to be seeing anything like that coming into play. There's a few attachments that aren't allowed. Like, you can't use 320s either for the assault class. No shotguns, no masses because they are broken as hell well. And yeah, it's all vanilla maps with the exception, or no, it's all vanilla maps with 3 bans. We don't have Hanoi Resort, Flood Zone, or shoot, what is that last map, dog?
Well, which is banned?
Shanghai?
Yeah.
Rogue Transmission.
Rogue Transmission. There you go.
Rogue Transmission.
Yeah.
Awful.
So those 3 maps are banned, so you're not going to be seeing those. 150 tickets. Yeah. Best of 3. All that kind of good stuff. It's going to be on ticket base, not by round base. So it's the accumulation of all of the tickets from both sides that is going to be winning out the match, not by rounds. So basically, if you win round number 1 by 80 tickets and you lose round number 2, but you drug the team, underneath that 80 ticket mark, it's okay. You end up winning anyways.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up the ESL one. I mean, we're good. We put it to bed. We're gonna move on to more competitive stuff. Obviously, it's something I'm dying to talk about because I'm dying to hear your thoughts. We're gonna talk about the Obliteration small mode now. Just a semi-soft release right now. It's on CTE only, right? I mean, that's it. They're testing it over there.
Yeah, there's only 2 servers up right now.
They have dedicated servers up for this. Okay, so
yeah, they only have two servers. Both of them are 5-on-5, so only 10 people can get in them at one time, with 4 spectators in it, and that's it. It's small oblit, and it is a very, very good game type. It has a lot of potential in it for comp. I've actually just got done writing a whole bunch of notes down for it that need to be changes for it, but it's infantry only.
Dennis for Firewall.
Yeah, but it's infantry only. You're going to be seeing no parachute spawns from what I saw in there. No parachute spawns. There are not going to be any vehicles other than the rib boats, the jet skis, and ATVs. Those are the only vehicles that are within the map. So you're not going to be seeing any tanks. You're not going to be seeing any LAVs, helicopters, so on and so forth, which I like. I like that a lot. It's going to be focusing mainly on gunplay. Oh, absolutely. And it's going to fit really, really well for the 5v5 competitive scene, as well as for 8v8s and 10v10s for MV only style stuff. It's going to be really fun to see in that dynamic as well. The map, it's on all the maps from what I understand. At the very least, it's on all the vanilla maps. Right. I actually have footage. I'm going to be posting this up on my YouTube channel. And in fact, Kulprit, if you want to actually like screenshots or footage of this, let me know. But you're actually in the CTE though, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so you'll
I'm
get
going to check it out for sure. I probably won't take the PC though.
Yeah, and basically, I got all 10 maps in tonight. I looked at all of them. There are some really bad ones and there's some really good ones. The map design was built around, well, it was built around the idea that you have to blow up the bombs in a certain order. So you have 3 bombs, A, B, C, just like you do in regular obliteration. The only difference is that instead of being able to blow up any bomb that you want, you have to blow up Alpha first. Then Bravo, then Charlie. So you can't go to Charlie first and then blow it up, or you can't go to Bravo first and then blow it up, or you can't blow up Alpha then Charlie. You have to blow them up in order, A, B, and C. Now, this needs to change. Not only for pubs, but definitely for competitive stuff. But for pubs as well, because it makes it way too easy to defend.
Predictable.
If you think camping is bad now, imagine having because I'm sure on PC they're not going to have a actual cap, so you actually could potentially be seeing 64-man small blit. But even if it's only 20v20 or 10v10 small blit, I mean, imagine 6 guys waiting on one bomb site.
C4
with the cover
everywhere.
being able to be blown away.
Yeah.
There's no way that the attackers are going to be getting in there. There's no vehicles. There's no air support. There's no nothing. So that has to change.
The whole point of Oblit is movement. It's you know, that's the point of obliteration. Well, I just don't get it. And why would they do that? But
and that goes into my second point. They actually built the maps, like on Zavod, for instance. All 3 of the points are within like. I mean, they're so close to each other. Like literally, I can be planting one bomb and I can look right at the next one. It's across the train tracks. Or on Hanoi Resort, they are. I kid you not, they're about 30 feet apart, and that's it. And you can see them. You can see them from each other.
Like basically TDM size maps, Dom size maps.
No. These are like Conquest small.
And they put them that close.
Yeah, they put it that close. But the reason they did that, and the reason why they thought it was going to be okay, was because they built it so it would go into series. Because obviously, because Alpha and Charlie bombs are both right next to each other, you can't go, plant Charlie. You have to plant Alpha.
There's only one active bomb at a time, right? Or one active MCOM at a time.
But the problem is with that series, it was a dumb idea. But the reason why they did that is because they don't have esports. The people who are building the game are not esports players. They're not people who have played comp before. So, I mean, they just don't know what they're doing.
That won't be any good on public either. It's going to be worse. I mean, it's.
That's what I was saying. It's going to be even worse because of the camping.
Right. So it doesn't. I would be interested to hear that before I just pan them. I'd be interested to hear what the rationale. They'll never tell us, but what the rationale would be. Why would you do that?
Because they don't know what they're doing when it comes to this.
Because you think that's more work too. Yeah, like they could have just left it as is, as obliteration small, literally. So I don't know. It's curious. I'll have to think about that one a little more. But that doesn't sound good to me. And I would like them a little more spread out. I mean, I know. Here's the problem: is it's really kind of hard to design it. And this is actually kind of one of my topics for 5v5 competitive. When like you're saying on PC and whatever, we're gonna see 12v12. We're going to see 10v10 or 24v20, because private servers are going to do whatever the hell they want. So they're probably a little adverse to just designing for 5v5 because they're not going to get a lot of legs on it. But I wish they would. I wish they would give us 1 or 2 modes that are just for small-scale competitive matches, and aside from diffuse.
No. The reason why those servers right now are only 10-man servers is because they're building it for 5v5.
I hope so. That'd be great. Or balancing.
But the problem is that they're not going and getting that information from the players themselves. Their biggest mistake was that back in March when they had that leaked small obliteration on those PlayStation 3, they didn't say, well, it's already leaked out. We might as well just go get some Battlefield players on PC, competitive Battlefield players, and throw them into these servers and fix these tweaks, fix these bugs that need to be changed. I mean, right from the get-go, a guy could have told you, this is stupid. They do not need to be this close together, and you do not need to, have them in series.
Well, here's the problem. I don't see the physical things moving. Do you? Like, that just seems like a lot of work that they're not going to do.
No, all they have to do is just take the bomb site out and move it somewhere else. They didn't build new elements.
But have they really? I guess they did in Battlefield 3, and I just don't see them moving assets very often. But I hope so.
If they don't, there's going to be at least 4, possibly 5 banned maps for competitive play, which is a shame.
Yeah, you put the work in, nobody plays them.
So, yeah. But other than that, the fact that the bomb is highlighted at all times, you have the icon over the guy's head, that needs to go away. It works somewhat for large, just because it's so big and you have these massive flanks. But in small oblit, when you get 5v5, I mean, heck, I'll know exactly where to reinforce. I know exactly where you're going to be coming from, and I can set up. And these players are good players. They're not just some pub randoms that are going to be having some stupid setup and not going to be able to shoot you. These guys are going to be able to take you out with an Ace 23 from halfway across the map. They're going to be able to spot you out, and you're not going to be getting anywhere close to these maps. Because remember, they didn't change the actual maps. All they did was add in bombs in certain areas. So the maps are the same. The cover in it is exactly the same. It's not like they added cover around these things. So it's just there's some things that really need to be tweaked, and then they need to give this to the competitive players. I'm actually right now I posted in I'm a part of a group that has direct feedback with a couple of the developers.
Good,
and I've actually posted to them. I said, look, you guys need to give us some private servers.
Yeah, I mean, it's set up there now. Do it. Yeah.
Well, if they don't release this on private servers soon, like within the next few days, they need to give us some CTE private servers so that we can get some competitive players in there, test out timers, test out, defuse and fuse timers on the bomb sites themselves. We need to test out maps, all that kind of stuff.
So wait a second. How is the spawning? You said no parachuting. So how is it going to work? Is there a spawn area?
They have a main spawn area. Okay. And the cool thing about this, from what I understand, now I saw this from spectator view, so I'm not too sure. But from what I was seeing, it's not like it's an in and out of bounds area. So you can actually spawn camp a team legitimately. I mean, like stand right in front of where they would spawn and kill them, which is exciting to me because here's the thing. Being able to spawn camp brings in another element of strategy. So no longer do you have to just worry about those random spawns coming in, getting a back rage or something on. You can now cut the team off from being able to reinforce a certain bomb site, get the bomb down, blow it up, and then, back up, let the team back out of spawn if you have to, all that kind of good stuff. So it brings in another element of strategy to it that we've been missing.
Yeah, you almost have to keep them off the map just in order to get the arm. Yeah, but that's going to be a nightmare for pub. I'm trying to balance between pubs and competitive and just,
But that's not what I was saying. They're trying to make this a competitive.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. If they come out and say this is balanced and designed for competitive, do what you want with it, pubs, that's fine. I got no problem with that. We need a mode or two of that for sure. But we're kind of nitpicking here, but Brett, I know you said you were excited about this, and the people you talked to were really excited about this, so I don't want to get too negative a tone.
This has a massive amount of potential. I mean, myself and Dogbert, we're freaking just right now. We need to get our hands on it as much as possible so that we can try and get it into the ESL One Season 3, because this could bring in new life to Battlefield Comp. I mean, you're talking about the potential of not only bringing in new teams, but bringing back the old teams that were tired of domination. So there could be a potential surge of teams and players back into the competitive world, which it desperately needs right now. Domination has run its course 6 months ago, and it needs to go away. If anything, maybe not go away, but it needs to be that mode that's kind of over there. It's
you can
there.
Mix it up now. Yeah.
It potentially could be played, but it doesn't need to be the main focus anymore. Now, I don't think that we're going to be seeing a multi-game type event happening on the PC. Dogbert and I have talked about this before.
You were talking about last time.
PC players are just too dead set in their ways. It's one mode. That's the mode I'm going to be sticking with, and that's it.
See, that makes me a little sad too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even really a PC gamer, but that just from a fan's point of view, it really kind of makes me sad. I'd like to see them mix it up and play different stuff, because then you get to see how a team may perform outside of just one comfort zone. That's a lot of them tend to get grouped into.
You're the best balanced team, the best overall team.
Can I rant a little here?
Go for it.
Yeah, you're okay.
You're on my podcast asking if you can rant. That's what I do.
We could have multiple game modes, and we could do it like that. But right now, Battlefield barely has one working game mode.
No, that's valid. But
I think go and have another 3. We can. The only reason obliteration wasn't used over domination is the fact that the bomb would disappear every so often, or go halfway up in the sky. Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. This Mary Poppins bullshit where you just spawn in on parachutes and drop down the sky. It is insane. Conquest too big. Diffuse too crap. With just as many bugs as well. The only reason domination was picked over the rest is because it was the only one that worked. It was the only one that worked.
Skill would win, usually.
Yeah.
I said usually. I didn't say every time.
Yeah, well, we've discovered plenty of things in domination which make no sense. Sure. But it's been fixed slowly but surely. It took some time, though. But the reason domination's used is because it's the only mode that works competitively with 5 players.
Not only that, but that was going to be because of information that they like through few people that they decided to talk to. That was going to be the mode. That was going to be the one that all the competitive players were going to flock to because it just made so much sense. Unfortunately, their problem was that they tried to pander to what I guess you would think that maybe a Call of Duty player would think of as a competitive mode, not a Battlefield player. It's 2 different games. They're 2 different things, and go back and look at Conquest in any of the games. It's a slower paced game. You have bigger maps. I mean, look at Battlefield 2. People complain about some of the maps being really big back in Battlefield 3. Look at Battlefield 2. Those 5v5 maps were freaking huge.
We played 4v4, not 5v5 at first.
At first? See,
Battlefield Infantry up until the end of BF2 was from 42 to Vietnam to BF2 started off as 4v4, and it didn't become 5v5 until near the end of BF2's lifespan. And
see,
then
my entrance into actually noticing competitive Battlefield was at the end of Battlefield 2 into 2142 and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I mean, even you had fewer players. It's just it was a really bad direction that they went to, and it all spawns, in my opinion, from the fact that they did not go to the dependable source, which is the competitive players, the leagues, the people who operate the actual events, and the people who are always there in some way, like the casters or the admins. Those people, they're there day in and day out. They have hundreds and hundreds of hours of experience onto the game modes, and you don't go and ask these people? Like, are you kidding me? Why not?
Well, I actually, there was something you brought up before I really wanted to have a go at. You were saying that the domination mode was the one that they were always going to go with as a competitive one. What they've done is they just let it out there, and then they let what happened really is ESL decided which one was actually going to work, and domination was the only one that worked. But originally,
garbage too.
They probably I think that DICE wanted Diffuse to be the game mode.
I think so
Problem
too.
was it didn't work, and then they've gone back and said it was domination was made for competitive play. What they're really saying is our mode fucked up so bad, but no one touched it.
Because I think domination is a classic mode. It's the one they fucked with the least. With Diffuse, they just did this hybridization, bastardization of it, and then you're just like, what is this? Like, this isn't search and destroy. This isn't so, and it just was broken on top of the changes in rules and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think domination was their fallback, but I mean, I guess domination was a logical choice too. Everybody knows the mode. You're thinking everybody can tune in on a stream. Oh, I know this game mode. I know what they're trying to do.
There's the thing. Can people come in and just tune in and watch it, or is that not the actual problem with the game mode?
That's the exact problem with it.
Yeah, it's so difficult to watch. Yeah, it's so difficult to talk about. I mean, the game itself is you ask.
You're talking about the game as far as Battlefield, or are you talking about the game as domination?
Domination.
Yeah.
Domination, a game mode itself is inherently just about one-on-one trades half the time. It's never
about broadcasting
strategy.
Right.
Yeah. If I try to explain it to people,
yes,
it's like, so why is this team winning? It's just like, because they're killing the other team.
That's one of the reasons I'm so excited about Obliteration. I think as far as from a broadcaster standpoint, it has such potential because it's got the focal point, and it's just like you can sit here and you can talk about nothing but the bomb the whole match if you wanted to. The good casters are going to tell you what's going on around it, or the color guy, whatever, what have you. I'm more excited about that from the production side, from the broadcasting side. And you guys, I'm curious to see what you're going to do, because it gives you this viewership, and you are all looking at the same spots. It's like a sport, really. I mean, there's a ball, I mean,
that's what we're pushing. That's what we want.
It gives you the ability to have that storyline within the game itself. In Domination, it's way too random.
Yeah.
Dogbert and myself, we've both.
I understand what you're saying.
You can go back and watch our cast, and we'll go, oh my God! Look at that lucky spawn! What the hell? Just right between two flags. We have literally seen one spawn change the way a game is going, and a team win because of that one spawn. That right there needs to go away. That's why domination is so bad right now.
It's too random.
You were asking before. How do you tell a team, a player, what team is winning? Well, or how they're winning. Well, they got a lucky spawn in between these 2 points, or for whatever reason, these guys. They got double killed by a weird ass weapon coming around the corner, or back before when the Scar H and Ace 52 were still in, it was it's because they're using an OP friggin' weapon, and they're able to get these ridiculous shots at long ranges. So, Dawnbreaker, it has some elements of strategy, and you have to have some bit of intelligence in terms of rotating. But for the most part, it's TDM with flags. I mean, let's just be honest with you. It's TDM with flags. Now, the reason why no random team can just go in there and play against the best, like against Fnatic or Epsilon, MYM, Pyrogen, Dignitas, these guys, is because they've just they've got the rotations down. They know the spawn system for the most part.
Let's not underestimate the gun skill too. Yeah,
and they're just really good fraggers at that.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have this written down. Let's
definitely needed to go to small obliteration or something like that.
This is all projection. What is it? What do they call it? Chain link? Any potential for that? This whole you gotta cap them in succession. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, it's just DLC.
Yeah, the new one, the new game mode. I'm just throwing it out.
ESL can't use any of the DLC stuff because
that's
it's
yeah, that makes sense.
It got to be the standard mode. So that's kind of a problem about the Battlefield model as it is right now.
Yeah.
But there's another thing about competitive Battlefield that's a serious issue, and something that's quite highlighted by CS:GO. Why is CS:GO able to get loads of people playing it quite regularly? There's matchmaking. There's nothing for Battlefields. If you want to do it, you got to go through ESL Versus, and that's really good, and that's got quite a heavy community. But if you want to do it yourself, you hit quick match, and all you do is you just join a random server. I mean,
I'm just imagining
having a competitive mode is good, but no one's going to play it unless there's a way to match up against
Elo system or something. Yeah, because I'm trying to imagine the skill rating trying to match people. Oh, I've actually done a video on this. Yeah, I mean months ago actually, but the problem is you got to have a good algorithm to figure out. Yeah, which they don't have. So I'm trying to think if where I want to go from here. I guess we'll talk. I'm going to skip that one, but we'll talk about. We're actually talking about it, so I'm just going to put the question out there. This is some of the kind of feedback I had from a previous episode about competitive Battlefield 4, and one is about the difference in design philosophies. Now, it's pretty clear that DICE and EA, probably at the urging of EA, has designed Battlefield 4 for ease of entry, for the noob or whoever to come in and play, right? The Ace-23, the M416, they're trying to make it as easy for you to enter and play. We're all kind of, I think, here subscribing to the whole design for the pinnacle, design for the top, and let it trickle down, i.e. design for competitive and balance it for competitive, and then let everybody else figure it out down below. But what do you guys, I mean, obviously we're saying we want them to ask competitive guys, come in, design the maps based on competitive matches. Do you think that would work in a Battlefield where, they design it for 5v5, 12v12, whatever, and then let the pubs just figure it out? Instead of, they do the inverse now. They design it for pubs and let the competitive guys figure it out.
This game, Battlefield, is a pub game.
Yeah, clearly.
The fact that there is a competitive scene in Battlefield and then how it's consistent from the first title to this one just says something about the people that play it. There's a lot of people who play competitively and they can't help it. But competitive Battlefield is something that's been reverse engineered by the community back onto the game. It's never ever been supported there. It's never been there. And to ask DICE to go and put it in there and the amount of resources to have to do it, it would only happen if they had a plan in place to actually make it work. Unless they start adding in things like matchmaking. And you know what? I think they probably will. Maybe not for Bad Company 3. Not that Bad Company 3 is coming out, but Bad Company 3 is probably coming out. Probably in the next big Battlefield. Right. And I think it's something with the success of other games that target competitive players, it will trickle down to them because they'll be like, well, their game's successful. What can we copy?
They're just a generation or two behind. They're looking at what Treyarch is doing and going, well, they fully embrace competitive.
They didn't at all.
Am I wrong?
Call of Duty had a very weird thing with competitive play. It's there, and what happened in Call of Duty is they put $1 million competitions on.
Well,
that would be
great. I'd take it.
But from that, they managed to end up with these people who became superstars in their community, and through them, almost with them and a few organizations, were able to keep competitive Call of Duty going. No matter how bad the Call of Duties came out, no matter how bad the game was or how little they supported it, they could, through the power of the community they had, keep it going. Does Battlefield have that? No.
We can't even get Battlefield to post on their Facebook page when you guys are having a tournament. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah, but you got to have a game which has a fan base, which then the organizations themselves want to be a part of. And that's something that Call of Duty got it right, but Call of Duty got it right even with a bad game. And through the use of a lot of money.
Yeah,
a lot of money and a lot of luck.
For sure. Well, it's more casual too. I mean, anybody can sit down.
Very.
You know, a 16-year-old kid can sit down with his dad and watch the same game, and they know what's going on. They can all identify. They can imagine themselves doing it. Battlefield has a little bit more of, you know, it's a barrier for entry, if you will. So it's harder, but like, I would love to see them take the approach of just, I mean, again, I'm going to go to LCS where they're designing, or Riot, I guess. They're designing an esport first, and then, you know, the trickles down to a game.
No.
Well, they're profit motivated, but their balances are for it's for the top players.
Pick a game which has been made for esports only, like from the ground up.
I'm clearly not saying esports only. Nobody's going to survive on esports only, but the changes they make in the game are more in mind of the product at the top than the product at the bottom. I don't know if I'm articulating it correctly, but especially when you compare it to games like Battlefield, which are the exact inverse of that.
Battlefield is a crazy public game where lots and lots of things can happen. There's so many different elements that go into a Battlefield game. Planes, tank. You know, I don't need to tell you.
Well, that's what makes it great, and that's what makes it hard. Yeah,
but MOBA games is one thing, and the only thing that's different are the heroes. And then they can, you know, it's so much easier to balance that than it is to balance an FPS, which is released yearly and completely different every time.
But absolutely, I couldn't disagree with that. But we're talking about a single game mode here that they could clearly have brought. I mean, right now we have the mechanism, we have the CTE environment. They could roll out a couple extra servers, password them, throw them to you guys. It would be very. I mean, I'm saying easy, but maybe it's more than even I'm imagining. To just have a tiny little server bed for you guys to use and test and feedback, and as long as you guys are giving feedback, I don't see why that would be a problem. But yet they kind of
got to have a focus for it. They don't.
Yeah. Well, they certainly don't now. Yeah.
No. And I think it's something that will stop becoming cross. LCS, the Call of Duty tournaments, ESL One, all these things have one thing in common. These are not done for the sole purpose of having an esports game.
It's marketing.
It is all marketing. Yeah. Nail on the head. It's marketing. And as soon as they understand, but it is in their best interest to help these professional gamers promote their game and playing it at a high level and have fans that watch them play, and then eventually get it to the level where they can actually compete with the Call of Duty people, like I don't know what they're called, like Nade Shot or whatever.
That's what I would say.
You know,
who just
if
retired.
They can get, if they can ever get anyone who's like the alternative of that, just off the animosity between the two communities, they would get a lot of views. But there has to be an effort from them as well.
But here's the thing: like, do you think they're a little scared? Like, imagine they put on this $1 million BF4 championships, and you're in the final round. Let's say Fnatic and Dignitas, and 3 guys crash. Like, now suddenly their whole marketing thing is a nightmare. You know what I mean? So I think they were like, maybe I'm not saying they wanted to, but even if they did, let's say they were totally this time we're gonna go. I think they didn't have the game to do it. I don't think they had the vessel to actually do it. They're like, we can't promote the hell out of this and get 100,000 people on stream watching and watch people crash. You know, so you
got to trust your product first.
Exactly.
But so you can't also have a tournament.
That's not an excuse
which is on the first day. You don't have a game and tournament launched within the first few months of a game's release. You do it 6 months in. So if they held one right now, which is almost 6 months after the game came out, it would be fine. We wouldn't have any crashes in the final.
I know.
If they did it 2 months, yes, they would. But you never would hold $1 million tournament that close after it. So
you would think too. Go ahead.
That argument with the crashing and everything on stream, it doesn't hold true. I just got done watching, was it UGC Niagara, I think it was, and they had multiple crashes within their consoles, within the game itself. For players, they had to stop it. They had delays. They had all that kind of stuff. So that doesn't mean jack squat. You know, that stuff happens. The problem with Battlefield is like what Dogbert said. They're not supporting it 6 months after the game releases. If they were to hold it now, the stability issues would not be there. You may have a random crash here and there, but for the most part, you don't see crashes going on. I cast a ton of games, and I can tell you what, for the majority of the time, there's maybe 3 to 4 crashes in a week, and that's over probably around 15 to 16 matches that I cast. That's a really good number ratio from crashes to matches that are actually being played. So it's not that big of a deal.
It's so weird to me because it's like you got to figure marketing department sits down. This might be totally decided, but like dollar for dollar, putting on let's say a $50,000 U.S. tournament. That's got to be effective money. I mean, think about how many eyeballs you're going to get for that. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm naive, but like, you think about some of the things they've done with their advertising money, and you're just like, they're throwing that away. Like, you can garner goodwill from the community because they see their company supporting their game. That there's that. New viewers are going to come in and, like you said, hopefully develop stars, which we've seen them kind of embrace YouTubers, obviously, or maybe not embrace them, but leverage them and take advantage of them. But they're recognizing the influence that these YouTubers have. And what's the next YouTuber, or like what has a potential to be even more than a YouTuber, is a pro player or superstar, a nade shot, if you will. Obviously to go to COD. But you almost wonder why they're not cultivating their own little community there and building their superstars. And they're not. Well, they're not doing anything.
No, they are. They're in the form of level cap. And Russian Badger and those type of guys. Those are who they're putting all their weight behind. Look, here's the thing. I've been in multiple chats before with developers, and along with those chats, you may have 1-2 competitive guys in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they're all YouTubers. And the frustrating thing is that the YouTubers don't even know how much they don't know.
Yeah,
they don't.
Seriously.
They don't. And they don't think about things before they open up their mouth. The other day, we were talking about we need to have. I messaged one of the developers specifically. I said on our site, hey, we need to have the ability to allow battle packs to be available for everybody on a private server to be unlocked along with all the unlocks. Right now it's not. You can't get on the battle pack items on a private server because you don't have the rank for it or it doesn't carry over. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't work. So basically what I said is on private servers, this would go a long ways to helping the competitive community. I had 2 guys that were YouTubers all of a sudden pop on there. No, you can't do that on servers just for competitive players. They have to open it up just like everybody else, and it's not right to just allow them to have attachments on while everybody does. I'm like, private servers. Right. If you don't know what a freaking private server is by now, you need to just go away. And these are PC YouTubers, by the way. These are PC YouTubers. And I'm not going to say who they are, but it's just ridiculous because you go in there and you're like, dude, shut up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
They get their ass kissed every day. Yeah, I mean.
And that's the problem. Those are the type of people that they're listening to.
But my point is,
what they're being told to.
So, I mean, this is a tangent, but I like this discussion. This is fun, whatever. Do you think they'll ever make the jump? Do you think they'll ever make that? Well, okay, we got these guys in our pocket now, Ronku money, right? And maybe we can bring someone else into the fold and cultivate. And I hope so, but I don't know.
This next game will be interesting because it is supposed to be revolving more around an infantry-centric style, kind of like what Bad Company was. It was more of an infantry style with vehicles kind of tacked on.
Right.
We didn't see any jets in the Bad Company series. The helicopter was kind of meh, and you saw very few. You saw very few tanks or heavy vehicles on the maps themselves. So we might be seeing that coming back in this next game, but. To be completely honest with you, I don't think that the Battlefield franchise will ever support competitive gaming at all, ever. It's going to be up to completely and totally the community, and that's why Battlefield comp will never be big. It'll never be
I tend to agree. Without the support of the dev, it's kind of hard. If they're not going to make the changes you need, even minute little changes,
it's never going to be mainstream because it doesn't have the support of DICE. But DICE is never going to put their weight behind it because they know that their money making and the way that just the game is, period, is for pubs and not for competitive play.
It will happen. It won't
be DICE though.
This one. No, it will have to happen. They can't escape it. It is coming. And eventually, they will wake up to the reality that this is something that they could easily do.
That's the thing; they can so easily do it.
It's so easy.
They just stubbornness.
It just needs to be. Oh, we've decided at this time on the back of the box of Battlefield, we're going to say that it's going to be have esports or it's going to be this
Level
or that.
Cap's picture on it.
Oh,
It's
God.
never going to have YouTube.
I'm a hating on Level Cap. Whatever, do your
YouTubers will
business,
never
but-
be supported on the back of a box for a Battlefield game because YouTubers can be a fickle thing. They might not support your game by the time that you're promoting them on the back of a box. They
Okay,
might
let me
have gone to
correct you
someone
real
else's.
quick, Dogbert. All right, nobody
My-
gets a game in a box anymore.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Come
How
on,
do
old
consoles
man.
guys
Get
do?
with the
I mean-
times. Get with the times.
But I didn't
It's
catch
all
it.
downloaded.
I got you.
They
But you're
will go to competitive players and sort something
Well,
out eventually.
We're gonna have to
And
dictate it, or guys like me, spectators, are gonna have to demand it. Is what it is.
it has to be watchable and
Yeah.
it has to be enjoyable to play,
No
and it
offense.
has to be accessible,
Yeah.
and it will happen. And it is
hope.
it's just waiting for it.
Function of time,
They
right.
got to wise up. Esports is getting so big. We're literally right now sitting on the fact that Dota 2 is like
I was just gonna say, let's go to that.
I mean, the prize money is going insane.
What-
Could you imagine if League of Legends decided to do a crowd-funded tournament? It would be twice as big. It would be 3, 4, 5 times as big. It's insane.
it is,
and
insane.
it's a matter
printing
of
money.
time.
It's printing money.
But what your problem is when you look at a game like Battlefield is because of how far up the line the whole it's towing the party line. This is what is going to happen. This is how we're going to market this game. That will change in time when people start to, the younger generation takes over. The one that's more used to
Right.
using esports and competitive gaming as a medium, they will take over and they will start marketing that money down, and it will go
Well, that's
to
what I'm
every
saying.
local.
I think we're seeing that a little bit now with YouTube being the first. Like Battlefield 3, they didn't embrace
Yeah.
them so much. Battlefield 4, now they're embracing YouTubers. Maybe, let's just say theoretically, Battlefield 5, maybe they're going to go, you know what? This esports thing is catching on. They're going to be a
And you
decade late. But you know what I mean? Like, and that's DICE. They're always behind in that sense. But, I'm wondering, like, is YouTube the first step? Streamers would be step 2, and then esports would be stream and YouTube, of course, combined. But
I honestly don't understand why they haven't made the jump to competitive players
I don't
first.
either.
Because in my opinion, we've talked about this before. You look at who dissects the game the most. Who are the people that are looking at the game the hardest, going, all right, this is a little bit, this is strong.
every little
This positions are good, map balance, all that. You look at these, the competitive players are the ones that will analyze everything about your game. So why not have these guys give you the input on the game? Because what makes a good game is a balanced game, a fun game. And who do you think is going to point out which games,
That's what
or
I'm saying.
which game modes, which maps, which guns, all that stuff, where the imbalances are? It's going to be the competitive guys. So why even turn anywhere else but to the competitive guys to ask for this stuff? I don't understand it.
people are begging to QA their games for them. They're begging. Like, and that's, I mean, maybe we should talk about the CTE. Do you guys think this is all just kind of placebo, or do you think this is actually a legitimate effort? Because I'm so torn. I'm like so excited by it, but then I kind of like, is Battlefield 4 going to see much out of it? I don't know. It's clearly
This
for
isn't Battlefield
Frostbite.
4.
Yeah, I know that. It's clearly, but at the same time, is Battlefield 4 going to get any, ancillary benefit from it? Just splash damage, if you will, and it's going to have to get better.
It'll get a little bit of benefit from it, and yeah, I do think that they're actually trying. I'm not one to praise them. I do not like
There's
what
no
they did.
fanboys here. Yeah,
but
yeah.
the thing is that they are trying
It's okay
right
to
now.
praise them.
And the reason why I say this is because I have been in communication with a couple of them, and I've had conversations with them going back and forth, and not just conversations, but things that they have said to me in those
Input,
conversations
right.
have then in turn actually
Happened.
shown up within patches. They've actually shown up within. I mean, I've been in the same. I've been in a couple of these groups for months now. And I have seen what they were talking about before then, in theory, actually show up within the patches. So yes, I think that the CTE is actually going to do
Yeah,
something.
there seems to be a flurry of activity right now, which I don't quite understand. Maybe they're just trying to get people excited for the new DLC, but like all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, they seemingly turned their ears on and started, triage,
Studio.
screen shake. Suddenly they're fixing things, and you're just like,
Well, it's like
not
Dogbert
DICE,
just said too. It could be the
Magazine.
fact that it's a different studio.
that's
It's
true.
DICE LA
Yeah,
now.
True. Yeah. Right.
It's their project. They've got to keep doing this. So
Yeah, they've kind of been told you do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and more importantly, they got to do something because they just basically got shat on for like 4 months after the release of BF4. I mean, the one thing about Battlefield 4 I'll put out there, and it's probably not the most